And welcome back to Wake Up Call. It is Thursday morning. That means we're in the wine cellar, but we're not in the wine cellar. We're at the steakhouse at the Atlantis because special things are going on, and I like to do special things. Guest this morning is Evan Drucker, who is with Spotlight Brands, and that's a marketing company for wines. It's kind of an all-new model that's starting to really take off in the Valley. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Talk a little bit about the wines. We have a nice portfolio, but we're going to talk about three of your great wines today.
So my partner Robin and I put a portfolio of 8 wineries. For the time being, they're all California producers, small production wines. For the most part, 3,000 cases or under. We pick wines that are real family-owned, artisanal projects, stuff with passion, of a sense of place. So wines that we could be really proud of.
And when you pick the wines, it's very interesting because when you deal with the big properties, I know from experience, a lot of times they're a little gun shy about small productions. So it's really more for the consumer, isn't it?
Well, really what it's about is taking this portfolio of wines we put together and bringing them to a wholesaler. There's strength in numbers for these small wineries that, used to have traction with distributors, and now, there's such a small portion of their, total sales revenue. You could bring a portfolio of 8 wines and they deal with 1 or 2 sales managers, and that way we're able to get a little bit more traction than one of these small wineries would usually have on their own.
All right, what'd you bring us today?
So we've got 3 wines from our selections today. We've got Caraccioli, which is a new project founded in 2006. It's the former winemaker of Roeder Estate.
Wow.
So he made wine in Champagne. He actually had his hand involved with Cristal at one point.
Wow.
He came out here about 20 years ago and was the founding winemaker for Roeder in Anderson Valley, and has since moved on to Caraccioli. So they're making sparkling wines out of the Santa Lucia Highlands. This is their 2007 Brut Cuvée. So it's a blend of 60% Chardonnay and 40% Pinot Noir, aged 5 years before release. Very, very phenomenal stuff. If you had it in a blind tasting, you'd think it was champagne.
Good stuff. And it is Central Coast grapes.
It's Central Coast, correct. The specific appellation's Santa Lucia Highland.
Absolutely. And it seems that the extractions are a little sweeter, and they ferment fairly well from everything I'm told. It really gives you a good champagne bubble. So.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal wine, and it's something we were lucky to find a year ago, and has been really successful.
It's funny how I said champagne bubble, and I know better than that. Everybody, there's only one champagne, and that's in France.
Hope nobody in France is watching.
No, well, I hate to say this. There's a possibility. This is a worldwide.
Sorry, we apologize.
It's one of those Freudian things. It's the day after election in America. We're all crazy here. What else? What's our white wine here?
This is a project DeSanti, and it's husband and wife team, David and Catherine DeSanti. This is their 2010 Old Vine Sauvignon Blanc. So it's a vineyard from the very north end of St. Helena, Varotza Vineyard, 37 years old, organically farmed, really, really beautiful stuff, made in a traditional Sancerre style.
Sancerre. What's the advantage of an Old Vine Chardonnay? We've heard of Old Vine Zins, but talk a little bit about that.
I think it really depends on the vineyard itself. Old Vine is a marketing term that gets thrown around really loosely. Traditionally, older vines will have lower yields, which could lead to more concentration. But, really in the scheme of things, it doesn't mean all that much.
And, of course, we have to have a red wine.
Sure. So the red wine, our grand finale, is the Vineyard 7 and 8. This is their 2009 Estate Cabernet. This is a property on the very top of Spring Mountain at about 2,000-foot elevation. This vineyard was planted in 1981 by a gentleman named David Abreu, and it's made by a phenomenal winemaker, Luc Morlaix, who came to them from Peter Michael, another French guy with just really phenomenal winemaking.
And I've had this, and this is a huge, wonderful, big-time wine.
Yep, it's a big boy, that's for sure.
Oh, it is good, and and again, all the stuff's available here. Now, of course, what we have to do is we have to make sure that it's all good and nobody's going to get poisoned. And so when we get back, we're going to taste this, and we're going to do something special. I've drugged the whole crew along so we can all sit here and taste it, and we'll let Evan kind of describe the wines as we do it, and then we'll get the unbiased opinion of all my fellow cast members. Stay tuned, stand by. Much more to come. You're watching Wake Up Call here on Loaded TV, and we'll be back right after this.